Hey, what is going on, guys? 10.1 patch notes are going live today, and I just wanted to go over them real quick. This will be a short video on top of my other full-length video today. I just wanted to go over everything that's being changed so that you guys are up to date. Not going to go over the skins or the bug fixes, just going to hop straight into the balances. Speed buff is getting a nerf. This is going to be pretty big for the jungler getting around, though you do have speed pretty much the entire game if you rotate correctly throughout your jungle. So they're trying to slow you down a bit since you're always going to have a speed buff. They're decreasing it from 14% to 10% as the base movement. And then you have Claw Shard getting a nerf, which is obvious. Claw Shard was probably the go-to build, especially for mages, to get the additional power off in the early game. Almost, you know, I'd say probably 50% increase to your power right off the beginning. So hitting everybody with your abilities is going to be devastating. Really good for knocking people down. You probably see a bit of a shift in the shards built now. Carries always typically build the movement speed, attack speed shard, wing shard, but claw shard probably fall out a little bit now. I think the cooldown shard probably going to be a little bit more worth since they didn't do any nerfs to that. Sundering Axe, this is a laughable nerf, 4% to 3% on the passive current health steal. So Sundering Axe is still fine. You'll probably still see it built in the warrior lane, especially now that Bluestone, this is the big one, Bluestone Pendant and Bluestone Brooch, which is the only upgrade you do on Bluestone, getting a huge nerf after the huge wave of Fenrir mains, and Bluestone starts in the jungle, and Bluestone's being built on warriors, and Bluestone being busted. So they are decreasing the bonus damage from 60 to 48, and the tick damage from 15 to 12, and then on the Bluestone Brooch is 200 to 180, 50 to 45, and then 15% current health bonus damage scaling will now only apply to gods only, which should have been a thing in the first place, but it's not that big of a deal. The biggest thing is that the damage overall on Bluestone and Bluestone Brooch has been knocked off substantially. So you're probably not going to see this anymore in the jungle starts, because the true damage that you're going to get in the sustain from your jungle starting items is going to be better than Bluestone now. Bluestone was really only good for the early ganking pressure and getting a lot of damage off early on gods. Now that that's not really going to be worth too much, you're not going to see this. You might also see Fenrir being played a little bit less, though I think he's still strong after his buff in 9.5. Contagion, this is a long awaited, but it's not enough, so Contagion's still going to be strong. Contagion decreased the damage per tick, so being penalized for, you know, just being alive near anybody with Contagion is stupid, and I think this will go away some point, but right now it's just decreased by 5, so still stupid strong, still going to be live in the meta. You're still going to see Contagion being built. This is again a laughable nerf to me. I don't understand why they didn't. If anything, the first thing they should have done is halved it, and then it would have went away. But to just take it down by 5 is laughable, so that's whatever. Archdruid's Fury was, I don't know, you didn't see this built too much, but the items now deal magical bonus damage instead of true damage, so that's, you know, you're probably not going to see Archdruid too much. I didn't see it too much in general. There's only certain people it's good on anyway. But I don't feel like this is an item. Again, Tablet of Destiny is another item you don't see too often. Takes too long to build the stacks. They're trying to make it worth building by increasing the damage per stack a little bit here. Well, quite a bit, to be fair. And you might see it a little bit more often now, because that's quite a bit of a buff up. You're seeing an increase of 6 to it, 0.6, which isn't anything crazy, but in the end, it's going to be pretty big. I've been trying to play Tablet of Destinies into my builds. I've tried some crazy double stack builds with like with Book of Thoth into Tablet of Destinies. It just doesn't work. It takes so long to build Tablet of Destinies. You're like building towards the late game with Tablet. They need to increase how fast you get the stacks for this to be worth it. And I understand that it's so powerful when it's fully stacked, but you never fully stack it and the only time you do fully stack it is like when the game's about to end anyway. Either you're already winning or you're already losing. It's fully stacked. It doesn't change anything. It doesn't matter. So it's whatever. I don't like this item. I don't think it does really well right now. A lot of people are trying to force it, but it doesn't work. This might make a difference. I'd have to test it out to see if maybe the increased power now makes it a little bit more worth in the mid game, but we'll see. Surtur, this is dumb again. So Surtur now got a nerf, but they didn't nerf him the way they needed to nerf him. So decrease the protection buff from picking up a fragment from 10 to 6. And then decrease base damage from his Ember Walk, his circle that he does when he walks around. Yes, they needed to decrease the damage from the Ember Walk. That makes sense. Did they do enough? Probably. I don't know. We'll have to see how it performs on lane. That's still quite a bit, especially at late game. The biggest thing is they needed to nerf his sustain. They really needed to nerf his regain on his health, because it's insane how much health he gets back when he's fighting someone. So this is not the problem. I could see how this could be 10 times worse if you are focusing on this and still getting your damage off. But the problem is how much health he's getting back. So I think they still need to do more to Surtur. So it kind of sucks to see that they didn't do anything to his regain, his health. So we'll see what goes with that. Maui. So Maui is getting a bit of a nerf here. Decreased movement speed from his mystical ruler, decreased base damage, and then increased cooldown. So Maui, you're not going to see him built for a little while. This is pretty big. 90 seconds to 110 seconds for his landfall. That's fucking crazy. Excuse my language there, sorry, but that's unbelievable. They're nerfing his ult into the ground, so that's gone. Decreased base damage from 110 to 90, so a 20. Decreased movement speed. You're chasing. It's not a huge deal in the early game, but it's a huge deal in the late game when it's supposed to be like really good for pulling people down. So this is like really dumb. Maui's gone now, and Maui, I understand that they're like trying to change the meta so that other guardians get into the play, but this is destroying Maui right here. So Maui's gone. You're not going to see Maui built anymore unless, you know, someone's just a Maui main and they really want to play him. But this right here is enough right here. Landfall, 90 seconds, 110 seconds. That's a 20-second increase on his ultimate. That's crazy. That's worse than Morgan right now. Because Morgan, what is Morgan's base ult? I mean, this alone is enough to nerf him into the ground. I mean, a 110 cooldown on his ultimate, that's what Maui is. Maui is his pull from his landfall. So you're taking, I mean, you got all his cool tricks, his swing, his pull, stuff like that. He still has that. But his landfall is what makes Maui Maui. Especially like his strength is this landfall. And to increase it to 110, that's massive. That's on Morgan level. You know, being able to choose whoever you want, however you want, that's on Morgan level. And that's this alone. They could have done none of this and just done this, and no one's going to play Maui anymore. So that's it for Maui until they decide that this was too much. He's going to be useless in games now. If you don't think a 20-second increase on ultimate is enough to nerf someone into the ground, just watch what happens to Maui now in competitive play. Kernanos, Bramblebrat. Okay, so yeah, they're gonna, the main two go-to hunters in the meta, they're gonna take down. This makes sense. Kernanos is still gonna be stupid strong. This doesn't matter. I mean, his Bramble does dummy damage, but that's not where Kernanos shines. I think this isn't gonna make a huge difference. You're still gonna do dummy damage with your basics. This is more of a nerf right here than anything. This is palpable. I don't know if that's the right word. This is nothing. This is, I mean, yes, it's something, don't get me wrong, a 15 damage decrease in his Bramble. His Bramble does a lot of damage, but people aren't building Kernanos as an ability-based damage person anyway. He's already dummy strong just with his basics alone, so Kernanos is still going to be sticking around. This right here is devastating for Ishtar, though. They're decreasing the damage from her spread shot and her strike shot, so her lob shot decreased from 14 to 8, so not nearly, it comes back up towards the late game, so you're still going to see her probably be useful with her strike in the late game. Strike shot is the lobbed shot that she does that does area damage. The spread shot, so this is her shotgun shot. This is the one that does the 5 shots to the sides. This one got quite a bit of a nerf to the late game, where you're seeing 10% to 8%, and this is only to the side damage, so anyone she's hitting to the face is still going to be getting quite a bit of damage. But those side shots aren't going to do as much. The big one is going to be the strike shot, which is like her go-to for clear in the early game. Gets a huge nerf. And just that intense damage that she does to you while you're trying to clear out, if you're anywhere near your minions. So that's a pretty big nerf. They're trying to take the main two. The whole thing they're doing right here is trying to take the meta out and trying to get people to change around. Kernanos and Ishtar are obviously the most picked hunters. Kernanos is still going to be picked. You're probably going to see a little bit less Ishtar, though anyone that's good at Ishtar can make this work anyway. Kernanos, definitely, this is easy to get past. The stun is the biggest thing on Bramble, so I don't see that being too big of a difference. Bye-bye Maui, he's gone. Surtur, I don't even want to talk about him. He makes me sick. They need to nerf his healing. And then our items, again, back into just a summary of everything. Tablet of Destiny is probably going to get played with a little bit. I probably will, just to see if this makes any difference in the early to mid game with a bit of an increase in damage there. Archdruid's Fury didn't see much often anyway. Contagions, this is, again, laughable. We're going to see Contagion still in the meta play. They need to half this or get rid of it completely. Bluestone Brooch, probably gone. Probably only going to see on like your ability hunters or your warriors now. Maybe not at all. Sundering Axe is still fine. Claw Shard, gonna see less now, obviously. So that is our balances. I don't think I missed anything. That is pretty much it. Okay, and then I guess I'll show you guys the new skin coming out is just the Ice Rat Geb, which is pretty neat. You're seeing a lot of Geb right now, so that's a pretty cool skin to come out. Okay, so on to my pet peeve. This is a huge pet peeve for me, especially in ranked gameplay where I see people do this. So your main starts are speed, red, blue, all getting pulled to XP. Take it, everyone gets level 2, goes to lane, everyone's happy, right? Duo side is where the problem comes in. Most common start I see on duo side is green and purple being pulled to XP, do them all at once. Guess what? Either someone dies, you go to lane with no health. If you don't have a heavy clearing guardian, someone's going to lane with no health, or someone's dying if you don't play it correctly, or you're leaving a camp behind and just running the lane with no health. One of the two. So what I'll say, and what I try to say in every single game to them, and they don't listen, and I'm just letting you guys know so that you know, try to spread this message so that it doesn't happen. It's so much easier to do one of these two starts. You either pull XP and green together, do them separately, and then go to purple and pull it to lane and do it. It doesn't make a difference in time. Most cases, I do this start and I get the lane faster than them anyway. And you go to lane with full health. You still get level 2. So do them separately and then do purple, or you can do purple and green pulled here, do them and then do the XP camp and pull to lane. One of those two starts is 10 times better than trying to do them all at once. Even if you think you have a clear, like an Ares with a flame, and you think you have it still doesn't make enough difference in time to just do green and purple by themselves, or XP and green by itself, and then do the other camp separately. It's still just as fast. You're still going to get the lane. So that's just a better start. There's also a cool start. There's 2 other starts I want to talk about real quick. These are just weird starts that I've seen recently pop up. One you need to be careful of, and the other one is like an interesting start. So if jungle decides after he clears these 3 camps to go straight to solo lane, you need to communicate with your jungler on this. If you're not queued with your jungler, or you don't talk to your jungler, don't do this. But if your jungler is okay with this, a duo start that works really well and gives you a lot of XP over the other duos is pulling speed and green together, doing them, and then pulling XP and purple together and doing them. You get a huge buff, but you're taking the speed camp from the solo laner. It only works if solo plans on rotating out to a lane right after. And they have to be okay with losing that camp. It comes back pretty quickly, but it just keep in mind that it's not a common start, and I've only done it a couple times. It works well. It boosts up duo lane pretty well, so it gives you a lot of early on pressure in duo lane, but it also kind of brings down the jungler. So as strong as the jungler is right now, he needs to be okay with knowing that he's losing a little bit of farm. He needs to be a little bit more lane conscious rather than farm conscious, losing that speed camp early on. So that's a cool little start. And then another one, the one you need to be careful of, which has happened to me probably 3 times in the past 2 days. So it's becoming common out of, like, you know, probably 10 games. So not super common, but it is something that's been happening, is jungle will start on duo side instead of on, you know, mid and solo. And this pull that they do normally over here happens right here. So speed, green, and purple get pulled over to XP. Jungle does it with them, and then they rush to duo lane, and they catch duo lane coming to lane. So this has happened to me 3 times. Most of the times I'm able to get away, but there's sometimes they pick you off, they steal purple, and they kill you. So you need to be very careful because this is a quick clear. So if jungle does this start, I'm saying just be conscious of it. If guardian goes vision shard or buys 1 ward and pops it here, you should be okay. That's a way to get over it. I don't know if it's going to become meta, but there's a chance that some cheeky people are going to try to do this. Just be conscious of that start, the 3-man start on duo side instead of the 3-man start on mid and solo side. So that's been my pet peeve with the map. I just wanted to go over that with the starts there. I don't necessarily like asking people to subscribe, but just know that doing so makes it to where I know that I'm doing well, and just know that you guys are enjoying the content. This has been the Bri Cry.